Fabian? What was that sound?
Seems like we hit another little snag.
Define little snag.
Forget about it! Defend the payload! It just needs a little more time. It's going to work. Trust me! Watch the people off the hill! Accelerators are green, propulsion systems are waking up. Just a little bit longer. Setting out the welcome mat!
Dang it. There we go.
Once you're there, well, it's up to you. Good job. Handing you over to Commander Ray. Amalia.
Alright, so, making better progress this time than last time.
It's heavy null sector numbers inside the power station. Expect null troopers, eradicators, bastions, and some OR-14s.
Let's make sure the payload doesn't get blown up before we get to the door.
Healing stream engaged.
Let me answer. I'm overloading. Send the payload at all costs.
And we are on air right now. Hello everybody,
All right.
what's up? It is the Dark Conservatorian, and I am here with, like I said yesterday, another interview stream or debate stream, whatever exactly you want to call it, talking about the issues with other people, instead of an actual news stream. So yes, I'm here with, as you all have got introduced before, my cousin Kris here, or KS Batlock as he would otherwise go by. Or in this case, KSDO clock? Like, introduce yourself again, Chris, and tell us what is KSDO clock supposed to mean?
So that's a username, KS.clock. It's actually a combo of the Doctor from Doctor Who and Sherlock from Sherlock. It's just a username. Chris. I'm the Kris conservative. Call me that. I don't know, Chris. That's all I got. I'm not good with fancy names. Hi guys, I'm Kris. Back again.
It's alright. I didn't even come up with the name conservatarian all by myself. Back when I used to be like closely associated and friends with somebody, they introduced me to the term conservatarian, which is basically a merging of conservative and libertarian. And I was thinking, I think I will appropriate that in my brain. And since I already wear pea coats and sunglasses indoors for sometimes in my video projects, I thought, why not the dark conservatarian? Works. So yes.
No, you pulled it off. You pulled it off really nicely too. I think you strike that balance really well. And you and I have our disagreements, but I think overall, just want to compliment you for everything you do. And thanks for giving me another chance to be on here. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, not a problem. And by the way, to people in the live chat, Common Sense Guy, hello, how are you doing? It's been a while, Common Sense Guy, that you've been in the live chat. Hey, Zach, we can hear you. Actually, no, that wasn't me that you were hearing, or at least not the live version of me. It was more like the audio commentary recording that I did while I was playing that bit of Overwatch right there in that intermission footage, which I think, now that I think about it, I'm going to have to, edit a new intermission footage or a starting stream footage or something for my live streams, because that bit of footage just gets rather dry, honestly. And hello, hey dude 77 in the chat as well. Metal Doomer, Metal Minister, JC Armitage, and Sent1 1000. Yeah, it's a pretty good Sunday afternoon here. So, as you all might have seen, what my most recent edited response video was, is actually a response video to another right-winger, which I occasionally do that, and it was in response to Michael Knowles, who is undoubtedly my least favorite Daily Wire news commentator, just to be quite honest. And it was this time on burning the American flag, or more specifically desecrating the U.S. flag. And I shared this on a Facebook group of mine, which I'm not going to get much more into detail about my Facebook life. But then Kris here, who is actually part of my Facebook group, kind of gave his own commentary about it. And so I thought, hey, why not, instead of debating this in text on Facebook, we have a live discussion about it. And so Kris, he kind of accepted that, and so here we are. So, Kris, tell us, how is it exactly that you feel about desecrating the American flag, and whether or not it should be banned or not?
Okay, yeah, so there's a few things to point out in this, right? I'm not against, and to be clear, I hate flag burning in general, unless it's to retire the flag. So just to make that clear, as a conservative, it appalls me. It has nothing to do with my actual argument. Just want to disclaimer. But anyway, I'm actually not 100% against all flag burning. If you're in the privacy of your own home, holding a private meeting, and you decide on your private property, you want to, burn the American flag out of hatred for America, you're an idiot, in my opinion. But it's America. That's what it's for. More where I come into being anti-flag burning, and where it should be banned, and where you should be charged with a crime, is public places. So if you're burning a flag in a public place, shouting "Down with America," I see that as terrorism. And terrorism should be condemned, and not just condemned, but met with the utmost force of our justice system, if that makes sense.
I wouldn't call it terrorism, really, because it's not like you're committing violence against any person in particular, or even causing damage upon anyone else's property. And even with burning the American flag in a public area, as long as you're not risking catching some other piece of property ablaze in your flag burning, then by extension, yeah, you're not burning anyone else's property. So I do not see how it falls under premeditated, politically motivated violence, that being the definition of terrorism.
Sure. Well, if you well, we already have laws against starting fires in public in general. So that already falls under that ish that law. In most areas, you're not going to be allowed to set anything on fire. You will be charged with a violent act for doing so, because starting a fire isn't a safe thing to do, and chanting "Down with America" is clearly meant to incite hatred, in my opinion. If and I would actually I would ask, so when people go out and they say "F the police," "Down with the pigs," and when they tell people how much they wish the politicians in office would just die or be killed, those people, would you agree that they are inciting violence against those people, that they should be charged with a terrorist crime, so to speak?
I do not know of how well that they should be punished, but I can at least agree that if you're making a death threat, an explicit death threat towards somebody, that yeah, it should be definitely be frowned upon, and that it is an instigation. Not the exact words that you used, grant you, but it is a threat or instigation of violence against somebody. But I don't know if I quite agree with the premise, because burning the U.S. American flag doesn't necessarily imply, or at least it does not. I don't think that the intended message is that people who hate America want to just start killing every person, every free individual that lives within the country. I'm not even so confident if they want to kill every single U.S. soldier or even cop for that matter, but they just want to get rid of America in general. As much as I find that to be overall kind of a sick, disagreeable stance right there, I don't see how it inherently, at least, entails that you start outright killing people. I mean, if I was to pose a question to you, if somebody was to burn the Saudi Arabian flag, does that imply that a person then wants to start killing random Saudi families at the same time? Is it even implied?
No, not necessarily. But I wasn't even making the point that burning the American flag means you want to kill people. But the idea of taking down a system is inherently violent. And in places like Saudi Arabia, maybe that's justified. I mean, the Saudi Arabian government is still going to have to hit back at that with force, because that's what they have to do. But the American system, I think, if you're inciting a message to take down the system, now I don't even under free speech I wouldn't even say ban it. So Bernie Sanders should be allowed to talk. Now I don't think if Bernie Sanders got into some level of higher office and then tried to pass certain laws that would change America, I think he should definitely that should definitely not be allowed. Obviously, we shouldn't allow people to take down our system. It should be prohibited. But just talking about just talking about taking it down, I don't think that's necessarily something to get you, charged with a crime, unless, of course, you're saying take down the system by charging the White House and bombing it or shooting or burning it down, even throwing whatever it is, throwing Molotov cocktails. Obviously, explicit things like that should be met with force, because that would be inciting violence. Right. But I'm not even saying all messages against America are inciting violence, although I think they are fairly stupid ideas. You do have the right to express it. It is just when it comes down to and I wouldn't even just put it under burning American flags. I would say, so if you go out in public, say you have say you start just getting a bunch of torches and setting them aflame, and just marching through the street with torches. I don't really think that's legal, because I don't think you have a right. I do think you have a right to protest and march in the streets and peacefully assemble, but I don't think marching with torches is peaceful, because time and time again it shows that it's not peaceful.
So do you think that, if I may just probe a little bit on that, does that mean that you think that the one Nazi protest in Charlottesville a few years ago should have been stopped in its tracks, squashed down by the police or something?
So tell me exactly. So what were the Nazi protesters doing? Were they just standing with signs, or what did they have?
You mentioned burning torches, and that you see is a bit of an I don't know. I might be
It's a
kind
bit.
of
I'm not
strawmanning
super.
you a little bit here, but you kind of say you kind of think that that's an implication of violence or something or otherwise. They were like carrying around lit tiki torches with what they were doing. That's why that I asked. I guess you did not hear so much about the Charlottesville Nazi protest.
Well, no, and I did. Well, I heard. I mean, I actually did hear a lot about it from the media. What I didn't see was a lot of footage on it, which was, kind of telling. All these they report so heavily on these things that aren't a major issue, but that's kind of aside from the point. I didn't. This is what, back in 2017, right, or beginning kind of early 2017, right? So I wasn't as heavily invested in politics at that time, but I do remember hearing a good bit about it. And once again, the torch thing was just kind of an example. It's not even necessarily completely encompassing. Oh, I'm anti-torch all the time. It's yes, take down tiki torches. Like you're marching.
You don't think that people should be protesting with torches, though? Am I assuming that? Am I getting that correct?
Well, I would say no. Well, I mean, number one, they shouldn't be on principle. I don't just because I think it's a foolish thing to march around the streets with hundreds of people with fire. You don't know how irresponsible those people are. But on a practical level, I think the city officials would be well within their rights to send in law enforcement to shut it down, saying, look, this is a hazard in the streets. Whether or not your intention is to set something on fire, set a house on fire, set a building on fire, set a car on fire, set another person on fire, hell. The point is, when you allow something dangerous like that to happen, then which is fire, so fire isn't easily contained. That sets a precedent that people can just do that. Now, maybe that certain protests that wouldn't happen. Maybe people really would be responsible. An example where people are responsible are the conservatives. I think Proud Boys are an example. Actually, they tried to strawman the Proud Boys with Trump in the last debate. Proud Boys are actually a fairly responsible organization. They're one of their leaders is Afro-Cuban, so that kind of dismantles the whole white supremacist thing. But some of them do, I believe, march with guns, and plenty of conservatives march with guns. And we've never really had a case where conservatives marching with guns broke out with some, idiot, shooting people on accident or on purpose. That's a case of a responsible use of weapons, and you also have a right to carry weapons. You don't necessarily have a right to march through the streets with torches, or march through the streets and burn the American flag.
So I guess to kind of just to probe you on the whole thing about people carrying around lit effigy or whatever within their, well, it's not technically effigy, but you get my drift there. In regards to their protest, I have a question from the live chat here. Metal Doomer asks, what about starting campfires in the woods? If you're going to use the argument that burning flags is dangerous in public, like, what would be the difference between, starting a campfire and then burning an American flag in public, which both seem to pose a bit of a burning risk, mass fire sort of risk. And yet one is allowed and the other you're sort of getting to the position or implying the position of being against it, of banning it, that being the flag burning.
Well, so number one, on starting campfires, camps have their own restrictions on campfires. So California, even here, when there is a drought, they're going to have major restrictions on it, and rightfully so. It's their campgrounds. Like, they don't want their forest to burn down. They're not going to be able to, I've seen what happens when forest burn down. When forests burn down, it's horrible. No one goes back. We went back to one. It's horrible. It's sad. It's a sad thing to happen too. But you also have designated places to burn, like so they have designated fire pits. Either that, or they have designated dirt areas to set a fire on. But
what if somebody wanted to camp in an area that is not an official camping ground?
Well, I mean, so the park has the right. So if it's not an official campground, the park has a choice. The park can either say, hey, these areas are free for alls, feel free to camp here, and then tell the people to be safe.
Sure.
Or they can say, no, don't camp there. If we catch you camping there, we're going to make you get up. They're well within their right to do that.
Well, of course, if it's if it's private property, obviously the private property, that's where the end final decision is on the private property owner on whether or not you can, start your campfire at whatever location. But let's say it's public property. It's
Like
the
a
middle
state
of a
park.
forest that is not claimed by anyone. It's not an official campground. Can they start like a new fire pit, let's say, in the middle of unclaimed land, in the middle of a forest? Is that good? Is that okay?
So just to clarify, are they allowed to be in that area to begin with? Like this is an area they can just waltz in on and stay in, and they can go to this area freely, correct?
Basically.
Okay. So in that case, yeah, they'd be allowed to start a fire, but if a fire were to break out and there was a wildfire, they would be held accountable for that fire. But there's a major difference
Right.
as well, though. See, when you're camping, you make a fire to eat and to cook. It's practical. And yeah, some people might be idiots with it, but most people are going to be practical in any issues that come up. So for example, if a state trooper sees people setting off fireworks in a public camp area that they're just allowed to be at in the forest, they're going to tell them to stop, because you've seen what happens in California when they do that. The whole state burns the hell down. Like you don't. They're still gonna stop them from doing that. But generally, if it's a public area and you're being safe with the fire, I assume they're gonna let you do it, barring any restrictions in that area. Now, in a public area, when you have a lot of people crowded together marching who are angry, by the way, their purpose is to protest the system. So a lot of these people are angry when it's already a very tense situation, which by the way isn't the case when you're camping. Normally you're camping, you're relaxed, maybe you're tense, I don't know, you saw a bear or something. But the purpose you're lighting a campfire is to camp, to cook food, to be warm,
Right.
sit around the campfire, tell stories. But the purpose to light an American flag on fire is to say down with the system, spread hate. A lot of these people who are watching this are either going to feel disgust for those people, or they're going to feel disgust towards America, which and basically if no one stops them, they're going to think, okay, well, I can start with my fire of my own. You also have to remember public areas are a bit different, because public city areas there's private property
Whoa,
in those
hold
public
on a second.
areas.
But before you go into the differentiation of private and public area, I want to nail this down a little bit. Yeah, there's obviously a practical usage for starting a campfire as opposed to burning a U.S. flag, which is to basically send a message. I mean, I just don't see of how that we are restricted on practicing our rights because of whether or not that it's for a reason of vanity. And in that case, I would say that if somebody wanted to burn the U.S. flag because, oh, I hate America, is a reason of vanity. I'll agree, but I don't see the reason of vanity, and that not being a practical thing right there to be doing is why that we should why it should be a reason as to why we can or should restrict them from burning the U.S. flag. If you get my drift.
No, I understand. So
I mean,
I don't.
let's say, for example, sporting usage for rifles with practicing our guns. I mean, people go on the range and have target shooting practice with them. I mean, it seems kind of vain, and yet we as gun rights advocates believe that people should still be able to use their guns in that sort of method, even though there's no real practical usage of using those guns in sporting.
Well, yes, but in sporting, you're still held to a standard of being responsible, right? If you are shooting downrange at a person, your odds are you're going to be kicked out, either by, if you're at a private place, you'll be kicked out. But even say a trooper sees you,
a person can be responsible with their U.S. flag burning too. I'll just say.
Yeah, no, I agree. And well, my thing is though, if the responsible place to do it would be away from, the public, I don't think that I think any city, like I said, any city officials, and this is by the way up to the cities. If the cities really want to, I'm not for, and I do need to clarify this. I'm not for a lot of federal things. There are certain federal things I think should be enforced. I think the video you had was Trump was talking about a federal banning of burning the American flag. I'm actually against that. I don't think there should be more federal anything really. What I'm talking about is actually more up to. It's on a pragmatic level that I think states, not even states really, districts, counties, cities should apply. I don't think it should be a federal mandate. Just a disclaimer.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So.
I don't know where else I was gonna go. Oh yeah. So I mean, obviously, I want to annotate that when it comes to burning the U.S. The U.S. flag, desecrating the U.S. flag, again, I don't like it. And obviously, if they end up damaging other people's buildings, and that's where that illegality should come in, of when that the police maybe, or somebody anyway, should come in and put a stop to it. If you are burning the U.S. flag right next to a whole bunch of timber that is going to start a wildfire, or right next to a highly flammable building in which will cause a huge citywide fire, well then, yeah, that should obviously be stopped. But if a whole bunch of America haters are just burning the U.S. flag in the middle of a wide open piece of pavement, of where that there's like no bit of foliage around to, you know, catch fire along with the U.S. flag, and then they clean up their mess after burning that U.S. flag, that's where I say that it should be just allowed. I don't see why it should be banned. I mean, the difference right here is that Mike Knowles, during that one video that I was responding to, he was saying that the desecrating the U.S. flag should be just banned in general, as to whether or not they actually have a risk of burning other bits of property other than their privately owned U.S. flag. The America haters,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a good distinction there as well. Because no, yeah, I think I don't know. In that case, we might agree on that thing, because I mean, you know, as like I said, as much as I hate, you know, I can't stand the people who burn American flags. But like I said before, if they're doing it on their private property, that, like, I already defended that. So if you're right, if you're doing it in an area that is, you know, technically safe, it kind of falls into the same thing I was saying about the campfire, where if it's technically safe and responsible, there's no technical reason other than I hate it. But I guess one question I do have, because I don't think I can really make the same argument Michael Knowles made, because I don't agree with him. I agree with him on some things, by the way. I think his Christopher Columbus video is spot on. I don't know if you've seen it. Go watch it.
No, I haven't.
I don't know. Yeah, go. It's a good video. I would definitely. And he does a history lesson.
Is that on the
more than
Daily Wire
anything.
YouTube channel or some other offshoot YouTube channel?
So it's either on the Daily Wire still, or it's on the Michael Knowles channel, because they just transferred all of their individual like content to their individual YouTube channel. So I believe it's either on the Daily Wire, or it's on his specific channel. It's a good video. Anyway, I would ask one question I do have for you is one thing you talked about yesterday was talking about principles, and how you know, I agree with you that there doesn't, you know, I can't really think of a reason to ban you know, actual safe burning of the American flag and hatred, other than I don't like it and I think it's dangerous to the country. Which, you know, I think it is dangerous to the country, but it's not the same explicit danger that inciting violence has, or, you know, passing certain policies has. So, you know, I can't make that same argument. However, you did talk about free speech, and I do want to ask, what makes flag burning fall under free speech, I guess?
It would not technically be speech, I guess, because they are not verbalizing or vocalizing anything by the act alone of burning the flag. I mean, what they verbally say while they're burning the flag is what is the actual speech is. So, although I guess that's the reason why I like to put in the term freedom of expression instead of actual free speech, because even holding up a sign, if you're just keeping your physical mouth shut, but you're holding up a sign that has a message that you agree with and want to transfer over, or you want to relay over to other people, that's free expression, even though it's not technically speech. And with the whole flag burning thing, I not only see it as a free speech, or more specifically free expression sort of issue, but also as a private property issue, especially if you bought or obtained the American flag legitimately through some kind of private free exchange from another individual, be it a shop owner that just sells flags, or you got it as a birthday or Christmas present from a family member or whatever. I mean, if you are like stealing someone else's U.S. flag, obviously that should be stopped. That go without saying. Which, yeah, I'm referencing back to this one video that I actually saw. Maybe you saw it. There was this one guy with a MAGA hat that was just walking around a protest. It was some BLM or Black Lives or Antifa protest or whatever. He just had the American flag on his shoulder, and at multiple points the protesters tried to grab the American flag. There was even this one grown-ass lady who was just trying to yank it like a toddler.
I saw that.
It was
or
so
I saw something
cringy.
similar. Yeah, I think the one I saw was this. It was kind of a kid who was like 16, maybe 18. He had a MAGA hat on, and they kept flipping his MAGA hat off and like picking it up and throwing it, across. I think he started stomping on it. That crap. But no, yeah, there's lots of videos like that where they'll steal the signs, they'll steal their hats, they'll steal their flags, and obviously, yeah, that should not be acceptable. But
by the way, very quickly, I want to say, Steamer, the Steam Train in the live chat, welcome to the show. He says, I watch Loudmouth reviews and I got this recommended for me. Well, cool beans. It's nice to know that even Loudmouth, even when he's on hiatus, he's still able to be a very good internet partner. But anyway, go on, Kris.
Yeah, that's an old picture of me, by the way. Just welcome to the stream. That's old. I need to update it. I have a glorious beard now. Maybe I'll update it so y'all can see it.
Do you got a camera that maybe you can like turn on the camera thing for StreamYard?
I could, but I look like garbage, so I will next time I'm gonna put on my my leather trench coat.
As long as you're not as ugly as No Bullshit, you're probably good, bro.
oh yeah. No, I'll set it up though. No, we're getting internet next week, and then I can actually set up my webcam and stuff. Yeah, no, I'll definitely. I'd love to do this some more, but yeah, I got to get a kind of more professional setup going.
I'll have to ask your opinion about certain other YouTubers sometime within this live stream, but
yeah, definitely. We've got plenty of time.
Yeah, just to kind of further expound on this issue. Let me see. I want to see if there's anything from the live chat. Common Sense Guy has a chat comment here. He goes asking, wait, is he against your version of democracy or republicanism? I don't think me and Kris disagree with each other on systems and forms of government. I think me and him are generally in the same camp of when it comes to small r constitutional republicanism. Would you say so, Kris?
I think so. I think we'd have to kind of dissect our views a little bit more. Maybe that would be something for a different live stream if I was really gonna start doing this regularly. Which maybe maybe I will. I'm getting consistently 1 or 2 days off a week, so maybe I'll make at least an hour out of my day to do this, and maybe we can do it a little more once I get some full internet running. But yeah, no, I would say we probably fall pretty.
But as a starting point. As a starting point, would you like to see America go back to its original constitutional small r Republican roots? The way the founding fathers set it up.
I would say yes for the most part.
Okay.
I think there are obviously certain things like a little bit more nuance today that we'd have to account for. Some new things to be added. Some not really so much as control goes, but just like more like I would say add some more stipulations on freedom, who gets included in the freedom. You and I believe are very are pro-life, and I would say one important thing that wasn't added before that caused something like Roe v. Wade to be passed was we didn't have a clear definition of everyone who was included, and it's taken us a long time to get certain groups included, and we still don't have all the groups included. Mainly, I would say I would even go as far as to say every single group that was not included in the original Constitution has been included, except for unborn children. Every single group. I mean, look, and I would say some people. I mean, affirmative action is an example of quote unquote rights that go too far. I wouldn't even call it rights. I'd say it's discrimination because I'm not going to get super far into this, but I would say as far as fundamentally goes, we should definitely have stipulations on certain things, but as far as the general Constitution and the general founding fathers doctrine, I think we need to get way back to those roots. I think it's a very important founding principle that needs to be upheld.
I mean, obviously, the only difference that I would like to see is that slavery was abolished. As some of them, actually, a good
Well, it was,
portion of
though.
them tried
I
to
know it
attempt
wasn't-
that, but it wasn't very successful. And also give black people and other non-white folks the right to vote at the same time.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and I agree. Like, I would have loved if, like everyone, obviously, we would have loved it if it could have been done at the beginning. But I think it's important to note, like it's not like we were the very first country to do it, but we were pioneers in, leading a lot of change in the world. And so people forget that, like they're like, oh, we didn't live up to our standard, but we did. We had a whole civil war over it. To live up to that standard. We had a whole civil rights movement to live up to that standard. And people are like, oh, well, it was only 50, 60 years ago. It's like, okay, you're 30. So that was, twice your lifetime ago. I know it's not that far in the grand scheme of things, but the point is there's many countries where it still hasn't been fixed. And many of the countries where it has, it's only been fixed because of us. I think it was I think Ben Shapiro. I don't watch a ton of Ben Shapiro. I'm not his biggest fan. He says some things that I think can be kind of foolish sometimes. But he made a good point. He's like, Germany's talking about how disgraceful our elections are, but we're the reason Germany has fair elections today. So I don't want to hear anything from Germany about how unfair our elections are. So that's a good. I think it's a very important point to make, is that America, as it stands, yeah, obviously it doesn't follow everything we want it to. That's humanity, though. Humanity isn't perfect. Countries aren't perfect. But the point is, we lived up to a hell of a lot of stuff that no country, some of them today, still don't live up to. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind.
All right. And by the way, don't mind me. I'm trying to write down some chat comments that I think some of them are actually for you. Some people asking questions about your positions and whatnot.
Yeah, no problem. I would keep a tab open, but like I said, if I keep the video open on my browser, it's going to use up all my hotspots. So I'm trying to. I'll let you read off the comments because I don't want to keep it open too long. I'm just kind of hovering over my email and stuff. And
all right. Well, let me see here. There's actually a question that I want to ask before we go on any further, addressing the chat. Excuse me. So I guess we gotta define where it is exactly, where you draw the line when it comes to U.S. flag burning and how much you want it to be banned. Like I obviously caught on to some of your rhetoric that you think that if a person is burning their U.S. flag within their own private property, within their own home, and obviously not catching anything else on fire, that's fine and dandy, right?
Yeah, I mean, fine and dandy in the sense that it shouldn't be
that
illegal,
it should not be. Yeah. I guess that we ought to. I guess we ought to technically define it. We ought to clarify on that, because I know that people say, oh, if people ask me stuff all the time, oh, so this is fine and dandy. So a person is starving because they don't have welfare, that's fine and dandy to you. And then I say, no, it's not fine and dandy. Although if they're not provided welfare, I am for, ethically speaking, welfare. Ultimately, ideally speaking, welfare being abolished. But I'm not fine with people dying of starvation. That's a little bit of a portion of the debate that I had with Chuck.
Yeah, and it's a straw. Absolutely, and it's a straw man, and it's a faulty. What's the word? It's a faulty dichotomy, because it's saying that if you're against welfare, it means that you're in favor of the issues that come from whatever that doesn't cause. But it doesn't even. Account for any other systems you might want to replace with, or better yet, it doesn't, because you're against a failed system that may have done some good, it means you're automatically against a good that system does. It's a ridiculous argument. It's used to attack your positions in a dishonest way. I wouldn't give that the time of day. Only reason I stipulate that if fine and dandy in the sense of the law is anyone new coming on. I've already said I'm against it on principle, but if you're new here, just clarifying that, that's the only reason I clarified it. You guys know what I mean when I say fine and dandy, I assume. The guys who've already been here. Unless you're
should be legally allowed. Let's be more specific
yes.
by using that within our terms. So to kind of further ask in your positions, but do you think that flag burning should be banned when it's in public property, like say a city street, for example, even though a U.S. hater is not in risk of burning any other property, they should still be banned from burning that U.S. flag on that bit of public property, or no? What is your position on that?
Well, so, and I think I take this from a practical standpoint. I did kind of want to take it from a more principled, like, oh well, it's bad for America. I don't think I can. I thought about it more the last few days, and I don't think I can make it from that standpoint. So I kind of have to focus in on more of the practical aspects of it. So you should not be allowed to burn a flag in the middle of the street because, and I would say this is a practical measure a city should take, because if the city allows a person to burn a flag in the middle of the street, no matter, it's safe, right? How safe it is, right? They're doing it right in the middle. Although, I do ask. So in the middle of the street, you mean where the cars are, right?
No,
where cars
okay.
need to drive.
Let's not even say street. Let's say in the middle of a concrete plaza of where that there's hardly any foliage that a person can catch fire to, and they're completely avoiding burning anything else other than that flag.
So here's my issue. So in the middle of, say, a desert, I would have no problem with it on a practical level, so at least. But however, in the middle of a city, say you're in a basketball court, right? In a, so surrounded by buildings are pretty far away, but you're in a basketball court and you
an outdoor basketball court. Let's
of course, yes, of course.
Indoor basketball court, you're obviously gonna catch everything on fire if you burn it indoors. But yeah.
No, absolutely, yeah. Outdoor basketball court, or whatever. No grass, is concrete. So something where you could practically do it. And I think this is something that cities will have to, they'll have to use their discretion with. So if a city decides, hey, if we let this person burn a flag in this basketball court, and then they see people starting to set more fires, should they let it continue? Well, if there's 50 people in this squashed up area burning flags, and you have no idea what the level of responsibility with these people is, what these people are, what they have, I should say, the level of responsibility they have. I think they would be in their right to tell them, hey, you have a big crowd here, break it up before you set someone on fire. Or if, say, those people take those flags and start going elsewhere with them,
right,
then they would have, well, yes, but no. And one thing I do want to clarify. So say this has happened before, right? Say they had a situation where they let people stay on the basketball court and burn flags, and then people started scattering out, and then they made the goal to stop them. But say some trees or buildings or something caught on fire, someone got injured when they let them scatter out. The city would then, I think, be within its right to say, hey, last time we didn't stop this soon enough, we're going to cut this off right here before this gets out, and we can't stop it, in other words, or some damage will be done. In other words, if a city decides, hey, we can't let people, we have to hold a standard to people, one person burning a flag might not be an issue as far as practically speaking. Maybe they'll do it peacefully, maybe they'll dispose of it. But if suddenly a bunch of random kids, 16-year-olds, decide, hey, this is fun, down with America.
So let me clarify, though. Let me clarify. So because person A decided to burn the U.S. American flag, and they foolishly ran off with that burning flag and ended up catching a whole bunch of other crap on fire along with their flag, that therefore person B, who later on also decides to burn the U.S. flag, but they don't catch anything else on fire, they should be banned because there might be a suspicious risk that person might run around foolishly with that burned flag, burning other crap up?
Well, not necessarily. I would say, and it's similar to, and I don't want to say these are similar at all, but say someone's retiring a flag, okay? They're very different. It's still burning, but it's very different. It has nothing to do really with.
Right. I mean, I do remember the U.S. flag code says that if a flag is tarnished up, if it's ripped up and whatnot, that's the proper way to dispose of a flag, is to ultimately, and in that case, burn it in a sort of honorary manner.
Yeah, and in that case, I'm guilty of burning hundreds of flags because I was in Scouts and we did many ceremonies where we'd have the community collect up their old flags. And they bring them to us, and we would respectfully retire. I think the biggest one we ever did was about 100 flags. So we'd have we'd have about 10 people come up with 10 of the flags and put them in the fire pit, and we'd let them burn for about 3 minutes, and then we'd come up and do more. And so the process took about 30 minutes to get it all done. It'd be sometimes we'd have little speeches, and sometimes there'd just be moments of silence. And moments of silence. It was a responsible, respectful thing, and it wasn't dangerous because we were doing it in a fire pit, right? So, if a person is, I guess, doing it outside of a safe area, if they're waving, and here's my thing is, I don't think there's anything inherently safe about waving around a burning anything in a crowd of people. So, and maybe that doesn't result in something dangerous happening. And that was just an example, by the way. They don't have to hold it to that standard. I'm just saying, if a city decides, or even
let me clarify though. Let me clarify though. I'm not even like asking this question in regards of if a U.S. hater if a flag burner is risking other property getting damaged or burnt or whatnot. I'm asking like in general, if a person is safely, emphasis on safely, burning a U.S. flag in the middle of a concrete plaza, and they're not burning anything. They're saying, "Oh, fuck America, down with America," and so forth. Do you think that should be banned or not?
So I don't know. It depends to what level. Like I said, I think I should try to break this down to the bare bones. I think that if they are committing a violent act, it should be banned. If they are being irresponsible and dangerous, it should be banned. If they are inciting violence, it should be banned. It should be banned, right? Those are my three things. And if somehow they manage to, fit within all three, get by without all three of those, in other words, they're not being overly irresponsible, they're not doing anything in a dangerous way, and they're not inciting violence, right? They're not breaking any other laws, then I would say, yeah, it should. I would say, yeah, it should be legal. I guess the only issue I have is how many people waving around burning flags, chanting things, does it take to cause mayhem in the city? Does that make sense? I know I sound like I'm the Riddler now.
Yeah, I got you. Like if the crowd is so big and each individual person within that crowd is literally burning a U.S. flag, and let's emphasize that burning a flag is a little bit less controlled than burning a torch, by the way, because burning a torch is like a very small area of burning, whereas a flag, you got this, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 feet of space of cloth that is being set ablaze from one end to the other, and you have like a crowd of 100 people all burning U.S. flags. Then there is a point to say that does serve to be a bit of a fire risk, especially if it's like in the middle of a city, of a kind of a crowded city. But
like you said, if it's in a concrete area, yeah.
I was speaking more on the individual level, and this is where I disagree with Michael Knowles more specifically, is that he just wants it in general banned, the desecration of the U.S. flag.
Yeah, and I do understand his position. Even though I disagree with it, because America has kind of like when a country is allowed to become hateful towards itself, it kind of does destroy the country, and that's unfortunate. But the question is, do we want to risk? So we can either risk people rejecting the principles of the country and coming to hate the country, or we can reject our founding principles. And I think this is kind of what I say with the election too. People get what they vote for. People get what they ask for. Right now, there are a lot of innocent people that aren't asking for people to be hateful towards America, and I understand that. And I hope we're the majority, or I hope we are becoming the majority at least again. I really do genuinely hope that. But I agree with you on we have to kind of take a risk of we have to risk the fact that a majority of people could become socialists in America, because you have a right to be a socialist, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately, you have a right to be a socialist. You
say
in America.
Unfortunately, thank because God. They exist. Because
socialists unfortunately, socialists are becoming a thing in America because it's a right. But also, thank God for that right, because without that right, we would be forced to all go conform to the same viewpoint. And this is something that happens in the universities is they want diversity of skin, not diversity of thought. And diversity of thought is one of the most important things. We're built on, I think this is what Ben Shapiro talks about. We're built on, Judeo-Christian beliefs, but also the founding, ancient Greek beliefs. We a lot of Socrates, Aristotle, the old philosophers. They started, the academy, so to speak, and the academy was a place where you had diversity of thought, and maybe some people hated each other. A lot of philosophers really hated each other. I forget though. I'm bad with names. I took a philosophy course a few years ago, but sorry, I know I'm getting off track, but yeah.
Yeah, if I may stop you right there. Steamer the Steam Train in the live chat asks, Dark Conservatorian, out of curiosity, would you defend the freedom of both far left and right groups? I'd say generally, yeah. Although if you want further clarification on what rights I think I should be defended of both far left and right groups, well then ask further in the live chat what further clarification you want me to give on that, or what exceptions you think that I believe there are within that belief, that principle, and whatnot. And I will agree, Kris, that there is that I don't like it that there is becoming an increasing amount of people that are disliking of the U.S. or disliking of the underlying principles of the U.S. and the Constitution, even though they might not be explicitly aware of it themselves. Like a person says that, oh, I love America, but also I want to ban AR-15s and assault weapons. Yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, you are, even though you do not know it yourself, going against the principles of America and the Second Amendment and the Constitution by saying that you want to ban AR-15s and other forms of quote-unquote assault weapons. I think that's kind of unfortunate, but I think that the way that we do that is that we, for lack of better terminology, preach out our beliefs to other people to get them to kind of come to our side. And this is another thing, another side of my response video to Mike Knowles was that I believe that it's not an effective way to change people's minds if you're going to be essentially hypocritical with your beliefs. Like, within freedom of speech or freedom of expression, which was the subject of the video, you can espouse your love for America, but you cannot espouse your hatred for America by burning a flag. So you're going to end up breeding more far leftists by suppressing or incriminating those far leftists for what they do with their speech, merely do with their speech. And this kind of connects back to something that you said earlier about Bernie Sanders, about you think that he should be allowed to espouse and even propose what he wants to do to change America, but there's a certain line to it of what all he can do. I mean, because obviously he cannot literally enact something, or at least not by himself anyways, that he would have to go through a lot of routes to do
practically he could. No, and that's the thing, and that's something we need to remember as
abolishing the Second Amendment. That was what I was,
do this.
Abolishing the Second Amendment. That was what I was wanting to get. I mean, there'll be a lot of routes that he have to go to, but he can propose such an idea, but if he's going to start enacting on abolishing the Second Amendment, he can't really hardly do that unless he gets a, I don't know how many, I would have to look back at the U.S. Constitution.
Even more to the point. Sorry.
Go on.
Yeah. Well, more to the point. It's not just that practically he can't, because technically in a system with enough votes, you practically could do something. Like that's the point. Is technically they can physically do it. Now, are they going to be practically able to? It depends. However, more to the point is, on principle, they can't do it. That's what I mean when I say they can't. If we're following the Constitution, they can't do these things.
Yeah, because
they'd have to break down the Constitution.
Exactly. Because politicians specifically are sworn to the Constitution.
Yes, exactly. And we can't do anything that would destroy the Constitution either. You have the right to preach against it because that's what's guaranteed in your First Amendment right. But to take actions that would then take away from that becomes an issue. And I don't know, on one of these live streams, if we get around to doing another one, I do want to kind of talk to you about your opinion on social media and restrictions on their private property rights and stuff, and so to speak, what rights they have. But I don't want to get too far into that because I know we're talking about other stuff. I do want to have a discussion about that in the future.
Yeah, just to like lay out my beliefs, to summarize it in a few words, I am against an internet bill of rights, long and short of it.
Okay.
But I guess to sort of get down to addressing a little bit of the chat, now that I think that I've laid out everything that I wanted to say on that front. Common Sense Guy, he said in the live chat quite a while back, I don't know, he might have misunderstood you or something. Tell him if he did, like, misunderstand you. But he asks, can he show me where it's against the law to carry around lit torches?
So, I don't want to... So I was kind of just using an example of the torches. I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not anti-torch, okay? If you want to have a Hawaiian parade and carry, like you said, carry around actual tiki torches, like unless you start being dangerous with them, I don't see an issue.
Burn and pillage.
Exactly. Well, that's my thing. Is when you're basically and this is the thing, and this is kind of a point I was making, is when so many of these protests erupt in actual burnings of buildings, on a practical level, I don't think you can make the case, like, so and this is, I think, to play the devil's advocate, right? Someone might make the case, well, they should be allowed to carry torches anyway on principle, because they have a right to carry torches in the street, whether or not that would involve them burning down buildings. They still have a right to. We need to uphold that principle. I understand that argument, but at the same time, what good is and I don't want to go too far with this because I know it's kind of a dangerous slippery slope, but the city, the people in charge, the police, right, the businesses, in fact, they're not going to really care about your right to hold a torch when they're worried about their businesses. What good is your right to? What good is that right when so many cases their entire lives are basically being burned down, right? And I know that is a slippery slope.
The Floyd riots.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But no, and I know that is a slippery slope. Like, so, and I understand people could make the same case for guns, right? You could make the case that, hey, if so many people being killed, what does it matter? You're right. I think it's a different case though, because here's a stipulation. You don't have and he says what would I point to say that it's okay to ban torches? I would ask, what right do you have to carry a torch in the streets, right? With guns, there's a very clear thing where you have a right to a gun. However, you don't inherently have a right to march through the streets with a torch. And if time and time again it shows that you're infringing on other people's rights, and not even specifically you, but the groups that get formed are infringing on other people's rights, I think communities have a call to make where they're either going to practically hold the right of a business owner, and his family, and people in general to be safe in their homes over your quote unquote right to march through the streets with a torch. They can even say, hey, you have a go march, go protest, go ahead, but don't take torches because you don't have a right to it, and unless
it seems like
so many cases.
It seems like that you're looking at this too much through a constitutional lens. Like, I like to look through things at a constitutional lens myself, but just like we did, just like with the porn debate, you're kind of looking at it too much through a constitutional lens, and where that there's not an explicit amendment that says that you have a right to watch or possess porn, adult porn,
sure.
By the way.
Sure.
And by extension, going to this subject, you do not have an explicit right, or there's no amendment that says that you have an explicit right to carry around a lit torch. Though, I would like to look at it as that you have a natural right to do whatever you want, as long as it does not infringe upon anyone else, like doesn't cause them bodily harm, does not
once again
on their free will to act.
Yeah, well, once again, I'm not for a federal mandate of this. I think, like I said, so right. I live in a very nice master plan community filled with trees, by the way, lots and lots of trees here. It's really nice. I guarantee if you start marching through these our pathways with torches, our cops are we have really good law enforcement, by the way. They're going to stop you, okay? But that, beside the point. No, it doesn't matter with the trees. But the point is, I think communities should be allowed to make that call, right?
I do
don't
remember,
like I said,
when I visited you guys' house, like November of 2018. It was a pretty nice neighborhood. Not gonna lie.
Oh well, so that's our no. So interestingly enough, there's less trees there than there are here where we live now. No, that wasn't really. So we moved back to our old neighborhood. Actually, we're on the other side of our old neighborhood. So it's nice. It's a little smaller. We didn't really need all that house over there. So what happened? I don't know if I told you. So we moved to an apartment near
you don't have to get into the whole long story about
sorry,
why
yeah,
I
know.
You moved, but you were saying about the political subject though.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I get way off track. I forget we're live and having a discussion. People don't want to hear this. No. It is a nice area though, and I want to keep it that way. And so, with that in mind, I think communities have a right to restrict certain things if it shows to be an issue in their community. I can disagree with those certain things, but I elected a board to, this is actually the first election I voted in. Yay! I don't like virtue. I actually don't like virtue signaling my voting, so I have to refrain from that.
I don't care whether or not you virtue signal.
No, I do.
As long as
it
doesn't get too long-winded.
Yeah. Well, let me turn on my camera just to show you my I voted sticker. No, actually, I washed it off. Never mind. No, but I think that communities, and this is an emphasis. I can't speak. I'm sorry. Is that I think that as long as they don't infringe upon your constitutional rights, you. And this should also not apply on private property, by the way. So if you're doing it on private property, as long as you're not actively harming people, it's fine. But a community has a right and an obligation to restrict things that might be dangerous to their community. I don't have an issue with that on a communal level, like on a federal level, yes. On a state level, even yes. But this is about the issues we're talking about with flag burning. I think they can be practically. I think a lot of people take things to the federal level when they don't need to be. I think a lot of these things can be practically and constitutionally done within your community. For example, and let's take it down to an even a simpler level. If in my family, right, my brother decides he wants to start burning flags, technically, based on my opinion, as long as he's not harming people, he has a right to do that. My dad also has a right to beat his ass over it. Okay, he can do that because he's aside from whatever you want to talk about with what your right to spank your children are, but he has the right to discipline him for that. And no government, I don't think a government should be able to come in and say, hey, don't do that. That's his constitutional right, because I think things should be dealt with.
I don't know I don't know what the constitutional argument would be for or against as far as how you discipline your kids go, especially
I don't
if
know.
it's
I don't want to get into that too much, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean that whole thing that you said about federalism. I mean, we're kind of on the same page. Excuse me. We believe in federalism. Like, even though I believe that the government should not ban porn or video games or anything like that. And definitely not the federal government. I don't think that there's a constitutional incentive or route that the federal government can legally ban, technically anyways, can legally ban porn or video games or anything else like that. But the the state and local governments, that might be a little bit of a different story. Constitutionally, they might be able to ban all those luxury recreational activities and amenities, but still on libertarian ethics, I say that they should not do that.
Sure. And I can yeah. And I would even go.
There's a difference between the how question and the should they or why question. I mean, this is a bit of frustration that I had with Mark Levin when he was debating a Ron Paul supporter on whether or not we should ban weed, but that's another story aside.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to get too off track. Wasn't Mark Levin just talking about all the Republican electoral officials going against the Biden vote? That's what I read an article about that. Is that Was that something that he actually did, or maybe it wasn't Mark Levin? I
I
thought it was Mark
don't know.
Levin.
I mean, honestly, it's been quite a while since I've listened to Mark Levin. I haven't been listening to him as often as I once did, mostly because he kind of frustrates me with of how much he's jumping on he jumped on the Trump train. I mean, one moment in
Yeah.
particular that kind of frustrated me about him. But that aside, though, shall I? If I may continue on with the live chat, if you're done with your point there.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, feel free. I think I made my point about communities. Yeah,
Yeah,
you get it. Yeah,
and
watch
by
what
the
I
way,
said.
before I continue on with the people's questions, Common Sense Guy asks, could I pop in for a bit to expand on that point, please? Is it all right if Common Sense Guy joins this conversation? He's a very friendly guy, generally speaking. I promise
Sure.
you.
Yeah, no, come on in. Yeah, this is. I'm not gonna ever
All right.
say no to having more discussion.
I'm not going to work on getting you the link this very second, Common Sense Guy, but I will eventually get you it here in a few minutes, just to kind of address the chat more again. Jason Armitage says, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Kris opposes the concept of angry mobs lighting things on fire more than he does of flag burning in of itself.
I think honestly, yeah. I feel like this might. Sorry if this live stream was clickbaity. That's probably my fault, not Zach's fault at all. I think the way I phrased it on Facebook, the original comment that started this, I did kind of make it sound like I was more on the Michael Knowles side of things. And I think I kind of want it to be. I think there was a part of me that really did want to be, but I am an aspiring. But understand, I am an aspiring libertarian. The more libertarian I can be, the more government hands I can get out of things, I will. Right now, I wouldn't say I'm 100% libertarian by any stretch of the imagination. I think.
Oh, of course. I mean, if you're 100% libertarian, you'd have to become a literal anarchist, and I am not.
I'm a purple libertarian, everybody.
I am not of that camp myself. In fact, I've quite frankly debated quite a few anarchists in the past.
Well, there's the true anarcho-capitalist yellow libertarian, so to speak, on the political compass. But then there's the extreme purple, purple libertarians. Those are the guys who are like legalize pedophilia, that sort of thing. Those are the most extreme. So you've got kind of two major extremes. Okay, so what extreme are we talking about here with libertarianism? And I would say neither of those. I'm not an anarcho-capitalist. I don't think you are either. Would you describe yourself as anarcho-capitalist?
No, I'm very ANCAP sympathetic, but no, I'm not of the belief of anarcho-capitalism. Although my fan base has certainly tried to get me into that belief, which it's no disrespect intended towards my my fan base and my ANCAP allies. But go on.
Yeah. Well, the lore behind the ANCAP base, by the way, is fantastic, and if it could be real in a practical sense, I would have a lot of fun playing a game about going through the streets of Ancapistan. But practically speaking, I don't think it works for society.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Anyway, yeah, back to the.
By the way, I just sent you the link, Common Sense Guy, in on both Discord and Twitter now, in case you were still interested.
Sorry about the misleading content. I think, like I said, I kind of started off wanting to be on the side of that, and I don't think I can in good faith. I think we still had a good discussion, though. Sorry for the. I know you guys wanted a chance to really tear down an anti-flag burner, authoritarian right winger, and maybe at one point I would have identified as authoritarian right, but I really think I'm dead center conservative right now. That's where I fall. So sorry to disappoint everybody.
Well, maybe we'll somewhat get into the I don't know, get back into the porn debate possibly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I do want to say for anyone who watched that, I still think and I feel like I have kind of fleshed it out a bit more. I wasn't exactly I didn't have it fully fleshed out. I think it kind of applies the same. A lot of that applies the same there, where I was certain points where I was talking about. I think one point that I couldn't quite answer, and I was gonna sure as hell try it. But and I did do a lot of research on it. It was about talking about how porn companies market to children. Now, I think, and I do want to address that because I feel like a lot of people accuse me of just dipping out, and I understand that, but that's why I do want to address it. Um, so I don't I actually don't think there is substantial evidence that they're directly marketing towards children. Now, I think that they are aware
Right. I mean, that's
that a lot of their base is children. I don't think they've done much about that.
That's one of the questions that I was originally wanting to ask you during that live stream, but I did not exactly get the opportunity to. Was where's the evidence that they are directly marketing towards children or intentionally marketing towards children? Because if they are like just marketing on a general website that is like intended for older age groups and whatnot, then I don't see as to how that it is directly intended or that they are trying to predatize, whatever word might be the appropriate word, on the children, their whole sexual, porn type of shit. I mean, if they were like on a kid's website advertising this stuff, then yeah, it'd be a little bit more suspect. But if a kid is like out on their own volition, as much as kids can consent anyways, going on an adult website and they come across that porn ad, well then that's not really the porn company's own fault. It's more of the kid's own fault, and the fact that the parents did not raise them good enough or put a restriction enough on their internet access. But go on.
So I will say, I think porn companies know that a good portion of their base is children. I don't think they're ignorant to the fact, because we know everyone knows the porn epidemic in our country. Everyone, we know the spikes, and so it's not like they're living under a rock and they have no idea. They absolutely do know. And I think one point I was making is that we should hold them accountable. Like, so they already have the whole 18. I mean, we've all been there. 18, are you 18? Click to verify, and the verification is check this box. I would say, yes, obviously parents should be more responsible. But I think the same with gas station cigarettes and gas station alcohol, whatever alcohol in general. You should definitely have more restrictions there. And I know people argue, oh well, what about you show ID and all that? I don't know, because I'm not against. I'm like I said, I'm not, and this is part of the thing where I'm not completely libertarian. Is I think that I would actually lower the drinking and the smoking age to 18. By the way. I think that if you're going into the military, you should have you should be able to get alcohol and
No, yeah, I agree.
But I think that we should definitely have restrictions to kids. Like, we shouldn't let gas stations and liquor stores sell alcohol and tobacco to children, to people under 18. And the same should be applied to porn companies, I suppose.
By the way, if you're done there, Kris, were you done?
Yeah. I am, yeah. Sorry, man.
Yeah, sorry, Jason, the Common Sense guy, for letting Kris kind of filibuster for a little bit there. But keep in mind that this is kind of an interview surrounding him. He is the title of the stream right now. But how are you, Jason?
I'm doing absolutely. I'm doing absolutely great at the minute. Hopefully, you can hear me well.
We can. By the way, I just gotta ask out of curiosity: is that like an older picture? Because that looks like a picture of you way before you gained weight.
No, that's me how I look now.
Oh, well, okay. In all seriousness, congratulations on the weight loss, Jason. I'm proud of you, buddy.
No, that's, now that I appreciate it, I was around about 27 stone, not sure what that works for American, but now I've lost around about over half of my weight, so I'm around about 17, 16 stone now.
Okay. It's probably like something around 200 or maybe 180 or something like that, as opposed to whatever fucking 300 or whatever you were.
No, definitely. Last time I remember weighing myself as kilograms, I think I was 378-ish, but that was before my total weight.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
I was a big boy.
Remember back on that live stream, I was all like to Conundrum, hey, I don't care if Rin Michaelis made jokes of, hey, it's Common Sense guy, you're fat, you look like a fucking incel or whatever, and then you were like, oh, gee, thanks, buddy, I love you too.
Well, that's just how the way things are, isn't it? You only hurt the people you love, or so my dad says.
Good times. I look back on that live stream quite often and thought that was one of the better moments of 2018. But anyway, So to get kind of back onto the more serious subjects, the last live chat comment that I had saved up here was actually yours, Jason, and it was, if he's against flag burning because of hate, does that mean he supports hate speech laws? Which I guess I'll let you two kind of discuss that just a little bit right now, but how would you address that question that Jason kind of posed to you earlier in the live chat, Kris?
Well, I don't know how much earlier you posed it. I've been, like I said, I'm kind of saving connection, so I couldn't really keep it open. But I think I did kind of make it clear. I'm actually not against, I'm not for banning things based on, oh, it's hateful. I don't take the Michael Knowles position. The what's the word they use? Whatever, the disgusting, horrible Michael Knowles, whatever. I was trying to use Ben Shapiro's word for him. I forgot it though. I'm not for that. I'm not for his position on that. What is it?
Right, Ben Shapiro really loves to tease on Michael Knowles.
Yeah, the indescribable Michael Knowles, whatever he uses. Oh, the deplorable Michael Knowles. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, whatever word he uses, it's not good, and it's pretty funny. But anyway, I actually don't take his position. I don't think that based on hatred for America, you should be banned from having that position, and I would absolutely be against all hate speech laws, including the American flag. But I also don't think the American flag burning it falls under free speech. I think if we're gonna have any banning of it, it's gonna have to be on a practical level.
May I ask you why you don't think it goes on a free speech aspect?
Well, I don't. Well, I don't think it's. I think you'd have to describe how it does fall under free speech, because I don't think it's
protesting. I dislike the American government.
Yeah, sure, but I don't. Well, so speech. The definition of speech. It's not necessarily. I understand. It's not just verbal or written words. But I don't think every expression necessarily falls under speech. You can, for example, throw a brick at a window and then make the claim, "Oh, I'm expressing how much I hate that business."
No, that's criminal damage. That's actually a crime. If I'm burning my own flag in the middle of the street and it doesn't affect anybody else, and I'm protesting at that point in time, that's literally a political street.
You could.
Well, and I also did make
Well, you could go off on a limb and say that if you're throwing a brick at a business, that you're that you are in fact expressing your hatred towards that business. But at the same time, it's also damage of private property, and that's the side in which that we think that law should get involved in, that preventing people from damaging other people's private property.
Yeah, and I did want to make and I think I made the point that, like he said, if it's in an area that isn't hurting other people, if it's not inside, like, so if it's in an area that's not overly dangerous, in other words, not a crowded area, not close to private property, if it's not inciting violence and they're not being irresponsible with it, I think it should be legal. Now, I'm still, like I said, I still think I'm a bit skeptical on whether it falls under speech. Maybe, I understand, expression. I don't see, the thing is, I don't think certain things fall under that necessarily. Now maybe they do. Maybe I think that's a bigger, wider debate to have. It's something a lot of people debate on what falls under free speech and expression. And
sure.
Is, frankly, it's a very complicated debate. I think it's a debate that would require a lot more than the time this live stream has. But my points are actually not to number one, not to infringe on free speech. Number two, not to even make the case that it isn't free speech.
Sure.
But to make the case that on a practical level, there's plenty of reason to ban it. And I don't think so. As far as expression goes, I don't think so. If you're explicitly, for example, expressing an opinion that incites violence, right? That is technically a freedom of expression. However, it does incite violence. So in that case, you could make the case that it's either slanderous or it's
Sorry, make the case that what's slanderous?
Burning the flag.
No. I'm just using an example. So if you slander someone, they can make a libel case against you.
I don't think it's really slander, because slander is when you're making an intentional damage on someone's reputation with your words.
By the way, no. Well, I'm not making the case that burning the American flag is slander. I'm saying in a slander
he's making a metaphor. He's making a metaphor, as in it's saying that the reasons why you're burning the flag because you hate the country because it's a warmongering country or whatever. Well, the reasons why you're doing it is the slander.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's the thing is more to my point is we already have certain restrictions on expression. So if you are being slanderous, you have your right to expression doesn't come into play, right? Because you're slandering someone or you're inciting violence. Now, whether maybe burning the American flag isn't slandering or inciting violence. However, if it is a violent act you are committing that is harming other people, you can make the case, hey, maybe this is freedom of expression. We're actually not going to make that case here because that's irrelevant in this case. The case we're making is that you have done something violent towards other people. You have put other people in harm. And in this case, we're going to put an end to that. Now, if you want to take us to court over whether that's, freedom of speech, I guess we can do that. But I think that it'd be similar to if I slandered someone, I said, hey, you raped this kid and you lost your job, you went to jail, and then 10 years later you found out it was false. And then they put me in jail for slander, and I said, hey, you're infringing on my First Amendment rights. And you could try to make that case, I guess, but generally the slander laws are going to, probably.
I guess I should
be
clarify.
In your favor.
I guess I should clarify as well that slandering is not just an intentional attempt to damage someone's reputation. It is a lie intended. It's telling a lie intended to damage somebody's reputation. Like, you literally have no evidence for it, and in fact there's evidence to the contrary, and yet you're still claiming that the person did that heinous act.
Sure, but before you continue on your line of thinking, Chris, if I can jump on 2 points that you've already made, one of them being that if you've already accepted that it's okay to burn the flag in a safe place, now you have to define what you mean by a safe place. Because if you say it's okay to burn the flag, then your argumentation for, well, it's against slander and it's against this and it's against that, then falls apart because you say it's okay to do it as long as it's in a safe place.
So I do want to say I wasn't actually making the case that it was slander. I
understand. It's a metaphor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. But
that might be my fault. I might have not heard everything that you said.
Good. You're good. I think what should be done in that case is, what defines a safe place? I think that's kind of, like I said, up to the community's discretion. I can't be there for every example. I'm not in every city in America. I'm not in every state in America. I live here, and if I was in charge, I'd pass practical laws to keep people protected as long as they didn't infringe upon their rights. And I think, like I said, it is a choice that communities have to make individually. And the point I was making with Zach, right? On a personal level, I think, if you're just like, if I saw some guys, say I was, a cop, right, and I saw some guys burning a flag in a basketball court, I personally, unless there were some laws in my area, I personally wouldn't do anything about it until I saw those guys doing something inherently dangerous, right? So this is just putting myself in the shoes of law enforcement. Let's say there's nothing, like, there's no law against that.
You're getting You're getting dangerously close to that construction area of where there's just a whole bunch of lumber piled up. I'm gonna have to stop you. Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, that's my thing. Is
then that comes into a law. But then that comes into a law of actually setting an arson. So you've now been able to step over. Well, if you're going to set fire or accidentally set fire, it's technically arson.
Yeah.
Whether it's done by intention or not. But besides the point, we've now crossed the point of where it's burning a flag to, again, as using the brick through the window example, of it actually breaking onto somebody else's property. When in actual fact, what we're actually talking about is the freedom to be able to do the burning of the flag via a protest.
Well, yeah, and I think I have made that clear. Is the actual and let me actually try to line this up so there's no confusion. On the principle, aside from me hating it on my principle and not liking it, a person should be allowed to burn a flag. I don't think that the government should just step in. Definitely not the federal government. I think on the general the base value, right? The fundamental value, you don't necessarily have a right, but you shouldn't, it should be allowed, basically. Now, what changes that is the different factors in the equation, right? Are you in a droughted area? Has the city decided, hey, this has been a violent thing happening and we need to stop it? I think that's up to like I said, up to the cities to decide, up to the communities to decide. But on the principle, my principle is, aside from disliking it and aside from it, maybe being a dangerous thing, and in those cases, when it's a dangerous thing or inciting violence, it should be stopped. Aside from that, people should be allowed to do that because under, I suppose, unenumerated rights. I'm horrible with the numbering of my constitutional amendments, and I'm sorry. I know I'm not a real American. I'm horrible. But
I wouldn't worry too much. I wouldn't worry too much. I'm not even American, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, we got a Brit bonger here on this panel right now, so you're good, Kris.
Oh, okay. Well, no. I'm just which constitution which amendment in the Constitution I'm talking about.
I have an idea.
Which one are you trying to refer to again? Sorry.
So it's the one that lines up unenumerated rights, where you, even though they aren't outlined in the amendments or the Constitution, you still don't you're not going to be denied it. So here, let me.
Honestly,
this is
I'm a bit of a blasphemer.
Okay, here it is.
In this,
it's the Ninth Amendment. It's the Ninth Amendment. States.
Okay.
It states that rights not enumerated in the Constitution are retained by the people. I'm citing. There it is. Yeah, the Ninth Amendment. Yeah, that's so
by
I
the
would
way,
say anything. Yeah.
A couple things in the live chat, for one thing. JC Armitage says 378 kilograms, that's around 833 pounds. Damn. Yeah, I do want to say, Common Sense Guy, that I've seen my 600-pound life, or at least a few clips of it anyways, and you did not look that big, dude. So I kind of doubt that you were 378 kilograms at any point. Or
I
another.
was. You have to remember, I'm over 6'3".
You.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Okay, that would explain part of it, but literally, you were 833 pounds at one point.
No, I wasn't. No. Sorry, I got the measurements worked out completely and utterly wrong. Then I was only around about 400 pounds.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't think that you're that big, but the Steam Train also asks, at the Common Sense Guy, did you check out the video? I think the Steam Train might be referring to the response video I did to Michael Knowles. Is that the video you're talking about, Steamer? And did you actually see that video, Jason? My response to Mike?
I have to be honest, I don't really follow YouTube that much, and normally when you put videos out is normally when I'm asleep, because obviously the time difference.
Well, I tag everyone in my Discord every time I upload a new edited response video, or I'm about to start a new episode of Strike Force. I mean, just so you should be getting the notifications there. I mean, unless you completely muted my server, then you dick.
I mean, I am a part of a lot of different servers for different reasons, and they can be very loud at night. So I
you did mute me. You did mute my server.
Only during the night.
You piece of shit. You.
I did it because I love you. Does that work?
No,
I'm going with it.
You did it because you love your sleep more than anything. But anyway, if you didn't, I mean, it's not that big a deal. No, okay. Steamer is actually mean to refer to. No, it's the Mr. Enter video is what he's referring to. Okay. Well, I haven't seen that video myself either. I haven't seen anything of Mr. Enter. Scroll up and look for the comment. Ever heard of Mr. Enter as just watching animated atrocities number 166, extra credits, political and hypocritical at the 2659 point? Okay, maybe I'll put that in my search list or something, but anyway.
I was curious.
I think we can honestly say, Steamer, that no, none of us have, but we will give it a watch at some point. For me, it may be another day.
So was there any more things that you guys wanted to say to each other in regards of flag burning, or even in regards of porn, as the last live stream I did with Kris was about?
Well, I've got a couple of things I would like to talk about, and I can stick to those points quite easily. One of those points I will stick to with the flag burning, first of all, is if by principle you have the idea, Kris, of saying that it's I will use the word allowed, but I know that you don't mean it as such, so don't take it as me meaning it as a pure definition. But if you were going to allow the flag burning as a point of it's the right thing to do constitutionally, then to me it sounds like you want to ban the other aspects of what could happen because of somebody burning a flag. Meaning, to me, it sounds like you're more trying to ban the original part because of fears of what could happen. And I think if you were to go down that aspect via laws of banning stuff about what could happen from a previous step, then that could lead a dangerous precedent for everything.
Sure. No, and I agree. So I think the main point I was making was more just let's see. So yeah. So I think let me lay out one stipulation is like I said, if it is a responsible venue, I suppose, and a responsible event, it should be allowed. It's only when that event turns not responsible, violent, that it should be banned. So I think one example, right? I think this is an important thing I left out is if a organization has been declared a terrorist organization by the U.S., the United States of good old America, then in that case, I think we shouldn't allow those events to continue, because once something has been designated as terrorism, it no longer falls under the I suppose the freedom of expression, because then you've been declared as a violent group, I suppose. Does that make sense?
No, I completely get that, but does that mean that if the group is doing the flag burning, does that mean that the action then becomes terrorism, or does that mean because it's terrorism because the group is doing it?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. So I guess if a group if a group of just random people is doing it peacefully, I should say, as peaceful as it can be, at least, it shouldn't be banned. But if, say, Antifa or Al Qaeda, as the rednecks would say, because Al Qaeda is a huge issue here, obviously, still, sarcasm, everybody. Although go to France and not so much sarcasm. Or even BLM, which has been declared as a terrorist organization.
Has it actually been?
I don't know.
Has it actually been?
President. Actually, I think you might be right. No, I think it may have just been Donald Trump trying to declare. I don't know if they've actually officially declared it.
Yeah, I don't think it's been officially declared.
Okay.
Antifa, even Antifa,
let's
I would
Antifa
kind of
then.
call into question as to whether or not they've officially been declared a terrorist organization.
Well,
I know that there's a video a while back of Sargon of Akkad doing a video talking about how New Jersey specifically declared Antifa as a terrorist organization, but federally speaking, I don't think there's any new. I do not know how much news there is about that.
Well,
just for clarity, I do. Just for clarity, I do believe that the FBI actually put them on a terrorist list.
Okay, cool. I am I do have, I don't know, even though I understand it, I think it's also a slippery slope to, declare things terrorism, because, and this slippery slope comes when, what happens when, as a conservative, I think this could happen very easily. But what happens when Joe Biden decides that a pro-life gathering is a terrorist movement? And he points, maybe certain things. What happens, and this is a good quote from a movie where, I forget the movie, I need to look it up, but basically the guy asks, so they're trying to catch a killer, right? But there's no proof that this guy's a killer, and the guy asks him, like, he says this guy's a killer, and he's like, well, he hasn't been proven guilty. We have to let him go. And he's like, well, but he's a killer. And he's like, well, would you go through the law? And he's like, well, I'd take down every law to capture and imprison the devil himself. And the man just replies with, well, what happens when we've taken down every law and the devil turns back and we've torn down the system that protected you from the devil himself? Who will you go to then? And I think that's an important point to make, is like, well, if we compromise certain things just, for protection, and I think, at what point does the tearing down the system come to bite us in the ass, I suppose, so to speak, in a less eloquent manner?
I think the line of when that terrorism should be definitely declared, as far as a group goes, is if it's like within the group's official platform, or it's officially being declared by the official leaders of the group that, hey, destroy this property and kill these individuals and whatnot, and those leaders ultimately don't get taken out of the group expediently enough, then at that point it might be safe to say that the group as an entirety is a terrorist organization, and I would think that anybody in good faith should leave that organization as soon as possible. Even though your original intent might have been like completely A-okay, like, oh, I just agreed with the political motivation originally, but I did not agree with the method that the leaders are later on declaring, violence against XYZ person or destruction of property,
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. I guess back to the original point he was making about whether it's I'm against the flag burning on principle or the group doing it. I think like I said, I think it just kind of depends on the context. Once again, I'm against a federal mandate, because I think when we have less control over the federal mandate than we do over our own precincts. So in other words, if a sheriff is doing something immoral in our town and say it's not even illegal, we can vote him out. But we can't necessarily single-handedly vote out the president, right? We have control. I agree. I'm not saying we have no control in the election. I'm just saying we have less control.
Well, the voter fraud would kind of say otherwise, but
yeah, no, I agree, and I hope, and my thing is, I hope that does get cleared up, because if it does get cleared up, and this is the issue, it's not necessarily just the voter fraud, which is an issue. The issue is whether or not we're going to do something about it. So if we do something about it, then it shows, hey, we were able to catch this, and the integrity of the system is still intact, and the proper checks and balances we have allowed us to catch this and do this properly. Whether or not that gets Trump in office, I don't know.
By the way, I just want to say, jokes aside, that I do not know of how much evidence there is of how much voter fraud that is going on, and if the amount of voter fraud that actually did happen would be enough either way to elect Biden as opposed to Trump. But go on, Kris.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that was what I was saying. Is I don't know how much difference it would make. It'd have to be like three of them being substantial enough, 3 states being substantial enough to swing the vote. But there's also a bunch of other states.
Thousands of fraudulent ballots.
Yeah. Well, it's not just the last. I think it was Nevada, it was Pennsylvania, it was North Carolina, and it was Georgia that were the last ones. But that's not all the ones they're recounting either. There's a bunch of other ones they're still going to recount. Anyway, aside from the point is, if we catch that and we fix it, then it shows, okay, yeah, there was an issue, but we caught it and we fixed it. But if we then let the media cover it up and say Joe Biden is now the president, we do nothing about it, that speaks more to the eroding of our system than anything. Is I don't. Yeah. In the end, it sucks. I don't like Biden, but in the end of the day, I don't really care that much if he's president. I mean, it sucks. Once again, I think he's going to pass some bad policies. I think Kamala is going to ultimately take over and pass some really bad policies. But I'm far more concerned about making sure our elections are fair. And if in the end, everything's done properly and Joe Biden is still president, yeah. Sucks. It really does. But
I'm just glad that Republicans are looking to at least retain the Senate anyways. Because if Republicans did not win the Senate, then whether or not that Donald Trump won wouldn't have meant jack shit, especially on the front of gun rights. Because 2023 is coming up fast, folks. That's going to be the next go-round of when that the assault weapons ban is going to, or the debates of the assault weapons ban and legislative battles are going to come right back up, and asking the question, should we renew this? Should we ban AR-15s, or at least further protection of AR-15s? And limit magazine sizes and also do universal background checks, that kind of stuff. And I don't think that Trump would have stood firm on that, being against that bill if there would have been a Democratic Senate and House that he would have had to fought. But, you're saying?
Well, it is interesting, though. So there is still a possibility. So, right, if there is an issue with the vote, right, if they can't declare a winner, what happens? And I was reading about this today. I watched a video on it, and I went and read about it myself. So I think it's either if there's a tie or there's a dispute, right? So basically, what happens is the House gets to vote in a president based on the eligible candidates, and the Senate then gets to put in a vice president decided by one of the eligible candidates. And what that would mean is now we have a majority Democrat House and a majority Republican Senate. It would mean Joe Biden gets to be the president and Donald Trump gets to be the VP. That's what that would result in. So that would be a fun fun fucking ride, so to speak. But
to kind of bring this back full circle back to the whole issue of what is declared as a terrorist organization, though. Well, actually, we are so off of the subject of flag burning at this point. Honestly.
I mean, I think we
a little bit.
I don't know. Do you have any more questions on that? Because I mean,
I don't, and there hasn't been anything.
Because I feel like I've kind of cleared it up. But if you have anything else, sorry if I haven't been completely clear. If you have anything else to add.
No, you've been fine.
You've been very clear.
I do want to say that most of the actual fun stuff said in this live stream happened more towards the first 30 minutes of this live stream, if I have to be completely honest.
Hey, we could talk about what I think about YouTubers if you want. Like we were talking about that at the beginning. Like, hey, I've got 20 minutes. I can go a little over time if I need to.
Yeah, we got a total of 20 more minutes on this call right here. But Jason, was there anything more that you wanted to ask on the front of flag burning or free speech and other stuff like that?
I suppose I never really got the answer for is the act the terrorist act or is it because of the group thing?
Okay. I think in this case, I would have to say the group because, like I said, if it's just some random guys, there's no necessarily it's not necessarily a terrorist act, even though I disagree with it. I would say the group doing it depends on what their message is and whether they're actually designated as a terrorist group. So like I said, if Antifa's doing it, I think there's a much larger case to say, hey, you're inciting violence. Hey, and they can try to make the case that they're not, but they've already been designated as a terrorist group. Then, say just some random, pasty white kids deciding, hey, Bernie 2020, 200,000 years from now, whenever Bernie, he'll be alive and he'll be alive then. Bernie 3020, everybody. Here we go. Keep his head in a jar like from Futurama. That's what I say. But anyway, no. So I think my answer would be it depends on the group doing it, I suppose. To make it an actual terrorist act, I guess that would be my answer. And the act itself is not. That's the clarification. Is the act itself is not necessarily a terrorism act, even though I would say it is a disgusting act.
I would say if it's just a handful of people that are under that organization, just of their own volition, not being directed by anyone else higher up within the organization, just doing some kind of terroristic act, and then at some point a little bit later, the leaders actually condemn what those individuals did are within that group, then ultimately the group cannot be defined as a terrorist organization. That's my opinion.
Exactly.
Okay. What about then, just to throw a nice big spanner in the wrench very, very quickly, what about if I am a member of Antifa, but I go out on a Black Lives Matter march, and I do this under a Black Lives Matter march, not under the idea of Antifa, but I am a member, and I've gone out to support Black Lives Matter, but as a Black Lives Matter group rather than that. Does that still make it a terrorist act?
I guess it would depend on what's your past history, right? As a Antifa member, does that?
I'm an absolute socialist, and I haven't actually gone out to cause any public any public or private damage, but I support the whole movement. I don't have a history of anything. I'm definitely not a pedo. You know, I don't support any of that.
But by the way, I just want to clarify, Common Sense Guy is not actually these things that he's calling himself as. I think he's just using an analogy. Common Sense Guy disagrees with Antifa and BLM, as far as I know.
Sure. A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit hurt, a little bit hurt. No, so, and the thing is, I don't feel like I've fully fleshed out my opinions on what our response to all terrorism should be either. Obviously, my visceral reaction is, take them all down. Mainly because my main exposure to terrorism has been seeing all these riots, and by the time it's escalated to riots, it's obviously an easy decision to take them all down.
Sure, but I think I'm trying to find out what the distinction is between the flag and the act, rather than what you would do to the terrorists.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess in that case, I would have to say, barring any of the other things I've said, it should technically be allowed. Also, though, it depends on, once again, I don't want to come at this from another practical level, because I feel like if I do, it'll just be reiterating points I've already made. Because I've already made the point, like, hey, if you're in a large crowd and there's a chance of hurting people, don't do it. So I don't want to make that point again. I would have to settle on, for now at least, reluctantly, let it, let them burn the flag. If you're an Antifa member who's never, been violent in the past, who just supports the organization, I don't think, I don't think you can just arrest someone for doing something you don't like. Like I said, you can also, if you make the case, hey, this is a dangerous thing you're doing, this isn't good for the public, you're gonna, cause a fire, they can arrest you on that terms. I don't think, my only point is, I don't think they can arrest you on, hey, you're being hateful towards America, that's not allowed. Or you're being a terrorist, that's not allowed. I don't think you can, until you're actually doing, something really damaging. I don't think that case can be made. So that's where I kind of reluctantly fall, just because of, then when I say reluctantly, just because of my own, I do want to clarify, just because of my own squeamishness towards the whole thing. Like I really do hate the act of burning a flag. I can't stand the people who do it. So
no, I dislike it.
It is hard, but it is. So reluctantly I fall. The point of principles is you don't always like the decisions you make, but you do it because they're your principles, and you have to be consistent. So
PSA Sitch Undaily is live. Philosophy Tube wants to steal your property. So I guess if we're kind of done with the whole flag burning thing and whatnot, I'll have to watch that live stream here in a little bit after this live stream. But have you ever heard of PSA Sitch, Kris?
No, I have not.
Have you?
I have.
Oh, okay,
yes.
yeah. I am not subscribed to his main channel. I'm more subscribed to his secondary channel where he does all those live streams, because I get a kick out of them. I mean, especially ever since he did that live stream interview with No Bullshit. That is particularly what put him on the map for me, and ever since then, been kind of a more or less a loyal listener. Not the most loyal, but
I like Stitch. I don't particularly.
He'll beat your
like
ass.
his partner.
He'll beat your ass if you call him Stitch, you fucker. It's Sitch without
Don't
the
care.
T.
Don't care. Don't care. There's a reason why I do it. But yeah, I quite like Snitch, but I don't particularly like his partner that he does his live streams with.
Oh
generally.
yeah, Adam is kind of a dumbass. I mean, he has some of his good moments, but there's moments where too much where he really shits the bed. Even though Adam Frienddead, I guess, is the more conservative, sympathetic one, he still annoys me more because he's just too much of a hack in his sympathy towards right-wingers and conservatives. Sitch isn't particularly ungenerous towards conservatives, but he's still like less generous towards conservatives and whatnot than Adam. But he still at least has more intellectual honesty. Sitch does than Adam, which is what makes me respect Sitch ultimately more than Adam. If I want like a difference of opinion that is gonna keep me from getting tunnel vision within my politics, I listen to PSA Sitch and all of his stuff about, Republicans bad, Democrats good, or whatnot. I mean, that's not the stuff that I particularly like. some of the stuff that
He tries to snitch tends to try to argue both points. He doesn't talk out of his Republican side or Democrat side. He kind of actually goes, well, this is what your point is, and this is why I agree with it. He generally tries to steelman somebody's position. So, in other words, try to put it down to its most simplest, basic form, rather than try to mischaracterize it.
But don't try to break it down to its.
At least in my understanding, he tries to make things as simple as possible and boil things down to.
By the way,
understanding other people's points of view rather than trying to mischaracterize them.
By the way, I just want to point out you nicknamed him PSA Snitch that time, so I'm asking who is he snitching on? But
at least in my opinion, anyway. So I could be wrong.
No, don't try to break ideas down to their most basic form with no bullshit, because otherwise no bullshit will falsely accuse.
I'm not too sure if I can hear you anymore.
What? Hello? Kris?
His mic went out. I'm still here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Jason, can you hear me now?
It's at Australia time.
No, he lives in the UK, actually.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Miscarriage. That was, yeah. See, now I'm for
all them
hate
countries
speech
are the
laws
same.
against myself. Yeah, no. Now I gotta be in favor of hate speech laws because I'm just so I hate myself so much. You know. No, I'm joking. I actually don't.
Jason, you there?
It turns out that my headphones can mute themselves, and I didn't know that they could, which is always a good thing.
Okay, so you can hear us now, though.
I can, yes.
Okay.
All right, we got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, and I was just
go.
I was just going to say that yeah, don't. PSA says he tries to break down people's ideas down to the most basic and simplest form, but unfortunately he cannot do that so much with no bullshit without no bullshit falsely accusing him, might I add, of strawmanning him or misrepresenting him. You know.
To be fair, though, no bullshit is one of those people that just throws. I don't mean it in a horrible way to him, and I'm sure he's a nice guy to somebody somewhere. But if I'm honest of my opinion of him, no bullshit is the type of person that likes to throw buzzwords around to make himself sound like he knows what the fuck's going on. But then you listen to his argument, and you're like, you have no idea.
He just ultimately comes off as an asshole to everyone.
Well, he is.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? There was one point. Did you ever listen to the one live stream that Nicholas Diorio did on his secondary channel, where that he actually got to talk to no bullshit?
I didn't, but I do like Diorio. I do think he's a bulldog, but he's a fair bulldog.
Nicholas Diorio is a fair bulldog. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Once he gets an idea in his head, he just goes the fuck after it. But he generally gives the other person a chance to explain what's going on before biting him.
Nicholas Diorio, he can come off as an asshole at times, but I do believe that he is unbiased in his observation of drama with people and so forth. But yeah, in that interview or that live stream, he actually interviewed both Destiny and No Bullshit on that very same live stream, and some black guy ended up arriving on there, and Ricky Berwick too, for that matter. But when no Bullshit was on that live stream with Nick was or somebody was quoting him on saying that there was a suspicious amount of females around Black Panther in the movie Black Panther, and then No Bullshit was saying, no, you're misquoting me, and it's because they were not using the right exact word that he used, because he said there's a suspicious amount of women in Black Panther, because he did not use the word women instead of females. Therefore, they are misrepresenting what No Bullshit was saying. So apparently, you're not allowed to do a rough paraphrase of what No Bullshit says. Otherwise, he's going to jump on that to, earn some gotcha brownie points by saying, "Oh, you're not using the exact words that I use." Meh.
Yeah.
It's just
the thing is with No Bullshit,
it's a completely unproductive asshole.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to completely and utterly shit on the guy that isn't here and whatnot. But the thing is with No Bullshit is that he likes to go on to these big shows, and he likes to try and do his debates and things like that. And when he starts to lose,
just remember, everybody. Wait. Just remember, everybody. Debates are gay.
Yeah, we aren't debating here, by the way. We're just having a discussion. Let me clarify. Also, I'm
Oh,
wearing socks.
there's me
I'm wearing socks
masturbating.
as well. Okay.
Oh,
No, I'm
what
wearing
the
socks
fuck?
as well.
Hey, no, I don't want you pulling a DSP gaming right here, CS guy.
Hey, you guys
No,
heard
I
about
was
the,
masturbating.
Oh,
Oh, okay, masturbating.
okay.
I gotcha.
got it.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess-
the one I meant.
I guess you never heard that quote though before, Chris. But there was literally a quote in that live stream with PSA Sitch of where that no bullshit was all like, and if I'm a bad debater, well then so be it. I don't give a shit. Debates are gay.
Yeah, he's literally a man child.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a Have you been in a debate with no BS?
No, I have not. I don't know.
I was gonna say.
I would. I don't know of what I would talk about with him, but I would just love to get the opportunity to be able to try and pry his brain a little bit. Although
Oh,
it'd
yeah.
probably
Well,
be
I had the
exciting.
opportunity.
What?
Ooh.
I did have the opportunity. It was around about 2018 before
Okay.
all of this type of shit all kicked off and whatnot.
Oh.
And we were going to have a debate about if I remember correctly, it was to do about something to do with female rights and female votes and stuff like that. And we were
wait.
going to have yeah.
Okay, so you tried to offer him up on a debate. The plans were set in 2018 that you were going to debate him when it comes to female rights, and yet at last minute he turned it down or something.
I think we kind of mutually decided, because I kind of did some research on, because I only did this via Twitter interaction, because I just thought he was a twat. I didn't know that he had like 50, 60,000 subs at that point, or how many he had in 2018. He's much bigger than obviously what I am now and what I would have been then.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll do this, and I just thought, you're such a dick. And it kind of just went to the point of we both agreeing not to bother. That's one of the biggest things that I regret about my little YouTube career, if I can call it the fuck of that, is not going on to talk to him about his fucking shit views.
Right. I mean,
Because
I definitely would. I mean, even if I was to ultimately get initially dislike bombed and, get a whole bunch of hate comments from all of his fanboys and whatnot, I'd still do it because I would at least gain some subscribers from haters of no bullshit. Maybe my live stream would even get reviewed by PSA Sitch or some other channel that hates no bullshit. Oh, okay, there's this one guy called the Dark Conservatism. He actually debated Brooks Heatherling no bullshit. So I want to just see this, and we're gonna go and shit on no bullshit, and yada yada. But if I may ask, Chris, you've heard of no bullshit, right?
Of course, yeah. I never really got into any of his stuff. Most of the videos I've seen recommended are actual why no bullshit is bullshit. Basically, that's basically all the videos that come up of him. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm not
All the
even gonna.
responses to no bullshit.
Exactly. That's what comes up in my feed. Although I will get an occasional video. I don't remember. I think I've seen a few. I don't remember the last one.
Battening's takedown video. Battening's takedown video of no bullshit is absolutely amazing. Anybody that wants to relive that, go watch Battening's video on it.
I think that I've watched that at least twice, if not 3 times now. I think it was only 2 times total. But yeah, it's a very good video. I'll have to link it to you sometime, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. No, I definitely any chance to criticize people who
have
misrepresent anything. Honestly,
have you ever heard of Sargon of Akkad, and what's your opinion on him, Chris?
Ooh, so I have heard of him. So the thing with Sargon of Akkad is the only exposure I had to him was a lot of people trying to restrict him and stop, I guess, delete his channel, whatever. And so basically the only opinion I've really been able to form is, hey, let's not do that. That's it. Like I never, I remember I used to really big into Raka Ollie. Started with his songs, but he got into some of the live streams he went on. He went on Dave Rubin once, and he made some really valid points there. Some of them I disagree with, obviously. I disagree with Dave Rubin on plenty, just like I disagree with him on plenty. But he made a lot of good valid points about Sargon of Akkad. They talked. I don't remember if it was that one they talked about him a bit. But a lot of they did talk about him I don't know. I'm not in the loop
Yeah.
with that thing.
I used to have been like a loyal viewer of Sargon of Akkad back in like 2016 or 2015 through 17, and then 2018 there's a drama that he had with Mr. Medicav where that he slandered him as being a child groomer, and I was all like, Sargon, you asshole. And ever since then I was all like, he's kind of untrustworthy at this point. Although at this point I think it's safe to say that we've gotten past that and whatnot. I'm not so sure if even Medicare holds much of a grudge against him. And not to mention, I kind of do like his appearances that he does on PSA Sitch's channel. That's where I mostly hear him, is whenever he makes an appearance on PSA Sitch's live show.
Did you hear him talk about the idea of tradition and women and tradition and things like that? About how it's a fucking naturistic law that has to be upheld?
What?
Yeah, his ideas about traditionalism and things like that, you should reevaluate.
I'm just a little bit confused about what you said there that he said.
It's not a mischaracterization, my friend, honestly.
Well, I'm sure it's not, but I'm just a little bit confused as to what the idea is supposed to be there, because that just went right over my head.
Well, you understand what if you're not religious and you believe in the idea of a naturalistic law, as in a law of nature, he believes that traditionalism, as in men should go and fight or look after the women and so on and so forth, and women should bear children and so on and so forth, as a nationalistic law that should always be upheld. And if you don't want to face or be a part of that law, you're going against your own nature.
If you're not going along with nationalist law, you're going against nature? Naturistic law. Naturalistic. Okay. You're going against nature if you're not going along with nature law. Natural law.
Yeah, you're going against nature if you go against natural law, you're going against nature. Got it. Yeah. No, yeah. And so the thing is, I agree with that to an extent. I think that we are, to an extent, we have roles, and to always be constantly trying to break those roles, you shouldn't do that. But also at the same time, there's certain things, like for example, we were joking about Nona November at my work, and they were like, and my coworker Leo, he's like, well, I'm an animal, you know, I have needs, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, hey Leo, like, you know, we're men, we're working in a restaurant. No animal has ever done that. Let's celebrate how we're different from the animals, you know. So there's certain aspects to that that I agree with, and certain aspects I disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but his main point was that women that don't go out of their way to bear children, in essence, because they're not following law, are not women.
Yeah, no, I disagree with that, obviously.
And the same people that don't want to fight and protect and feel that women need bear protecting are not men, in essence. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is very, very simplistic abstraction of what he said, and none of this is direct quotes of what he said, but his inference is this.
It sounds like that he is essentially trying to advocate for the nuclear family, which I am all for. The nuclear family. I'm just not for there being laws that coerce people into falling in line with the nuclear family. I mean, if there's going to be like two gay people that adopt kids from a foster house, well then so be it. I mean, let the law not intervene in that. And plus, I would prefer that if a kid got adopted by a gay couple than if they got adopted by nobody, basically being unloved and whatnot.
And I think
I agree.
A more important point is, you know, systems, and it kind of works itself out, because society showed the less laws you have trying to force people into gender roles, the more they kind of fall into the traditional nuclear family. It's when you try to deviate from that it screws everything up. So if you just let things play out the way they are, hey, the point I would make is, hey, look, imagine my surprise when you let the system operate the way, you know, naturally without any interference. Most people, and some people will go outside, and that's fine.
I do believe,
but generally, you know, you're going to fall into that.
I do believe that the family structure will just naturally fall in line with the nuclear family, because you have a man and a woman, they're both working, they start dating, they get married, woman gets pregnant, and ultimately she has to kind of wean off of her job because she has a kid that she's pregnant with, and then has to immediately tend to because the kid is just born, has to be tended to, fed, nurtured, and all that stuff because they are not self-sufficient in any sort of manner at all. So therefore, just naturally, the woman decides, yeah, I have to devote myself more time to my kid, and then the dad is being the sole one that has to provide for the family. And yeah, that's basically the nuclear family right there, is a working man.
What if the woman
and,
is working?
what if the
What if the woman's earning 90 grand a year and the man's only earning 30?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, what?
I mean, practically.
What if the woman is the one that's earning 90 grand a year and the man's only earning 30? Would you tell your wife to stop working so you don't earn your 90 grand anymore?
No,
and you
I
stop
would
down
not.
to 30?
I wouldn't. Nah.
I would not.
Dude,
I would not deny my wife or girlfriend from trying to pursue a career. I mean, it's kind of subjective and depends on the circumstances. I mean, if it can be worked into that we both can work a job and both be tending the kids, or at least making sure that the kids are tended to, 24/7, then so be it. I mean, until the kids can basically live alone for a certain amount of time in their teen years. Aside from that. But if it can be worked out, well then sure, both parents can work. It's just, I don't think that it's typically what the traditional nuclear family falls under if the woman is working. I mean, that's not to say that if a woman is working, it's inherently bad or anything. I just don't think that's what the definition of the nuclear family is. Nuclear family would be
I agree.
a straight man, a straight woman, married, raising kids. The man is working and the woman is staying at home raising the kids and, all that other stuff. I mean,
I agree with you. I agree
rising-
with your definition of nuclear
Right.
family. I just don't think that in modern day that we can describe anything as a nuclear family apart from two parents that love each other. I think, and love their children. I think that should be the only definition we classify as a nuclear family.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a trans man and a trans woman who are married and they raise a family and whatnot, then I would not technically call that nuclear family, because you have a person who is formerly a man, now a trans woman, or was formerly a woman, now a trans man. One of them was, kept their uterus, that being the trans man or whatever, because I have heard those anecdotes, whatnot, of where they would actually be the ones giving birth. I mean, that's not nuclear family, even though that, I guess in theory, it could work out in the end. It's still not, by definition, a nuclear family, nonetheless.
But it is. You still have a man and you still have a
I do
woman.
kind of agree.
I
Even though
don't
it's-
agree, but go on,
even
Chris.
though so even though it's kind of an asinine idea, I think it's kind of one of those things where they went so far into insanity that they kind of made it back out to normalcy. And I'd love to kind of go into that more, but I actually do have to go now.
I don't know if I
So,
would call it technically insanity, but you say you have to go, Chris.
Yeah, I got a plan from grandma's birthday, stuff like that. But
Oh,
I did enjoy
okay.
having one.
Well,
Yes, sir.
tell her that we too said happy birthday, and hey, tell your mom that Zach says hi.
I will, absolutely. Yes, sir. All right,
Happy
well,
birthday to you, Grandma.
Oh, thank you. She's 30 today. Obviously. That's what I'm putting on her card at least. To make her
Bless.
feel better. She actually likes being old though, I think. So whatever. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. Let's do it again soon. I'll let you know what my schedule is and see if we can work another one out soon.
Yeah, well,
Maybe not 2 hours, maybe just an hour, but whatever we can do to fit in. Some
Yeah,
time.
sorry about that.
yeah, I do not know
Oh, no,
exactly.
2
when
hours is what
the
we
next
planned,
time.
so.
I don't know when the exact time is next that we'll do this. Maybe when the subject arises of an issue pertaining to social conservatism, that is when that we'll have the next live stream. But I do not see that popping up anytime soon. Much less before the year is up. But anyway, yeah, thanks for joining, Chris, and I guess we'll see you
Absolutely.
later.
Yes, sir. You have a good one, okay?
You too.
Cheers, Chris. Bye, mate.
Peace. Good talk, man.
Yeah, I remember last live stream that we were kind of debating on the issue of porn, and then you asked if you could come on. He ended up having to leave at the 55 minute mark, and I was all like, oh man, still gotta fill out this live stream a little bit better, so hey, why not just have Jason come on for a little bit,
Yeah, no, that's fine. I appreciate it.
But either way, I think I am going to actually end this live stream. I mean, it was a productive live stream nonetheless. I mean, I do gotta say at least that I think that I was a little bit more entertained. Well, I don't want to say entertained or amused to imply that Kris is a clown. I'm not trying to make that implication towards him at all. Like, oh, he's a lol cow, he's a clown or whatever. And so therefore I was amused in the same way that PSA Sitch was amused at no bullshit stupidity during his interview with him. No, I'm just trying to say that during the first 40 minutes of this interview that it was the most entertaining portion of the live stream, and we were actually a little bit more sharply and, you know, intellectually witty with each other in the debate and so forth. I do gotta ask, just out of curiosity, did you watch my live stream yesterday with Chud Logic?
No, I didn't. I'm going to be honest. No, I didn't. I could say, yeah, of course I did, but no. Unfortunately, no. I don't really do YouTube too often anymore, my friend, as you probably noticed.
Okay. Personal life catching up with you?
Yeah, I'm always in college, mate. To be fair, well, I'm always around or doing something for fucking college.
Okay. By the way, maybe if you don't feel comfortable answering this one, by all means, don't answer it. But how old are you right now?
32 or 3? Nah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I kind of presumed that you were a lot older than that. 32, 33. That's not that old, really, if I'm to be honest. I mean, I
dislike you now.
I have a brother-in-law that's around that age, and plus I'm 25. Soon gonna be hitting 26 come December 19th. And by the way, I've already revealed before my birthday on my secondary channel, so it's like, fuck it, whatever. But I'm soon gonna be 26, so 30s is approaching around the corner for me, and yet I still feel kind of spry. I go to the gym like 2 or 3 times a week, and still feel bright and full of energy in spite of fast hitting my approaching my 30s. So yeah, 30s is not old. I won't call it old. Even 40s I don't think is that old. You're still in like your prime in your 40s.
Oh, maybe. Maybe some people are.
Okay. J. Will series. Anyone who is in favor of the nuclear family opposes giving only single mothers welfare and not to married couples, as doing that would disincentivize a nuclear family. I don't know. I would think that there would be a way. I think there could possibly be a way to restructure welfare so that you can so that you get less money via taxpayer dollars being a single mom than you would be getting money on average anyways if you married a husband that was able to provide you even more money than the government provided you being a single mom. But I'm just gonna leave that for right now, right there. But yeah, go check out my debate with Chud Logic yesterday. It was actually quite a passionate one, and maybe there's like some critiques that you can give me on some of the stuff that I said about welfare. But yeah, we debated a bit about welfare and, well, okay, economics in general and abortion. It's quite the sharp debate.
Sure. May I have a quick I know that you want to get off. May I have a quick 2 minutes just to address that point?
Sure.
The thing is with the de-incentivization of trying to get people off of welfare, you also, when you're cutting away that type of welfare, actually cutting away the welfare in which people that generally need it, where they've been battered or beaten or been forced to leave their husbands or forced to leave their partners, if you disincentivize it by saying that, look, we're going to take it away, they've got no leg to stand on. Remember, the welfare system is supposed to be, it isn't at the minute, admittedly, but it's supposed to be a leg up, a safety net. So if you're trying to say, oh, we need to take everything away to de-incentivize people, then what it's designed to do will let those people fall back down the cracks.
Well,
now, for me,
the idea is not to take everything away. I mean, if you are like in such a position where you have to be on welfare, and I use the word "have" very loosely, by the way, but to just take it all away. I mean, disincentivizing would be to make it seem like a better idea as far as your life circumstances go, for you to be working a full-time job as opposed to just relying on welfare.
Sure. I mean, anybody that has any sort of intelligence would know that if you only have a limit of 2 children, which means that you can only get $1,000 or 1,200 off of welfare, but you can get 1,600 off of working, you probably want to go to work.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess if that was it, I think that is where I'm going to end it off at. So Jason, do you have anything to say to the live chat? Even though I only have like 4 viewers, like this live stream did not do as fiery as yesterday's live stream. I was like clocking in at 17 viewers, and even I think there's a point that I hit 20 viewers yesterday. Chud Logic might have linked my video to his audience. Who knows? But yeah,
I would imagine so. That's a good thing about doing those types of talks and debates and things like that, is you get a compilation, you get a merging of people's audiences, so you get a boost.
Not to mention he also has like almost 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah, not bad.
It was a little bit of a ballsy move, but all the same, I thought that was worth it.
As long as you're happy with it, that's a good thing, isn't it, my friend?
Mm-hmm. Trying to grow that YouTube channel. But anyway, I would like to thank Kris for coming on the channel and to talk about flag burning and other issues regards of social conservatism and social issues in general. And I'd like to thank fellow friend and YouTube partner Common Sense Guy for coming on, even though he's been rarely on the YouTubes as of recently, as he said right there. But nonetheless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all later.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, and thank you all for liking who have already liked. But if you like this content, please like below. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see y'all later. Good night, and God bless.